Would you mind explaining the dials you have there and how you have to sort of reset for each site?
Yeah, when you come out to a site, you sort of have just from a lot of use, you sort of have a general settings that you put on your metal detector, and according to how the conditions that you meet out there, you may adjust these settings. On this particular machine, let me say this is unfortunately, metal detectors are not designed as a professional tool. They're more for hobbyists. So they're set with a variety of different dials and settings, and they don't really make sense of one another, and it's made it very difficult to communicate how to set settings on the dials for other people to be able to replicate the same search habits of a successfully searched site. For instance, we have a discriminator dial here, which actually dials. You can actually get rid of some unwanted metals that are really kind of pestering you at a site. Say small 22 shell casings or pieces of aluminum. On one metal detector, it may just have pictures of things on here and not numbers, and that's very frustrating. I mean, how do you write down, set your dial to the picture of the little can? It just doesn't make sense. But these this one is a lot more of a professional metal detector. Since it has dial numbers, I can communicate these numbers a lot more. It has a sensitivity dial, which actually does help you adjust certain depths and listing to certain depths on certain signals. And you can't just run that wide open sometimes. You have to adjust that according to the conditions and minerals in the soil, what kind of disturbances are in the soil. So, you just got a person that has a lot of experience just learns how to adjust that accordingly to get the most maximum out. And on this metal detector also we have the ground balance side, like I said, which is the other metal detector side, which is the monotone. It's deeper kind of a hum sound. On the ground balance, they're all tuned, and the manufacturers, I've been in contact a lot with the manufacturer of this machine and asking certain questions. The default setting for the ground balance is 65, and the ground balance basically stabilizes the head on the ground, the search head on the ground when you're searching. It allows the metal detector to not freak out with certain minerals or run over, or even when you run over certain signals, it allows that head to remain in constant tune. And you can, in some really heavily mineralized soils, use this dial to adjust to that. And that's one of the good things about this particular metal detector, is that you can adjust it to meet certain conditions that you run into. Other metal detectors don't allow that. By getting rid of a lot of the dials or having an auto tune, that will allow you to very certain conditions that you need. It also has a threshold, what we call threshold tune, and it is a tune where you can actually keep a small noise in the background, and you really kind of want, by doing that, you tune it to on the ground balance side, you tune it to the most sensitive setting that basically you can tune it to, because it allows you to listen to small iron signals when you're walking across the site, and allows you to adjust the depth on the iron signals. Iron signals are probably one of the more important signals out there, not necessarily because of the iron artifacts, but to let you know where there are activity areas, where there's a small structure. You just have just tons of iron signals that are usually concentrated in one location, and it allows you to stop and set up a grid there if you want to, or to handle a particular site. metal detectors are not looking for iron. They've just set an auto tuning mechanism on the metal detectors where they just completely tune out the iron and don't get it at all. And when an archaeologist uses one of those metal detectors, making a big mistake. When he's tuning out and he doesn't know how to use iron signals to his advantage for that information, in making decisions, he's going to walk right through some areas and not even see them, quote. This is especially critical when a site's been it's been searched previously by pretty good people and all the non-ferrous items are removed. So when you go across a site like that, you're not going to get a good signal. You don't get the iron signal, you don't hear it. So it doesn't allow you to stop and be prepared. But anyway, and it has some other dials here also. It has an auto tune, which keeps the ground balance of all metal side tuned automatically when you run over a signal. It has a button where this also keeps it at the tune that you set it. It allows you to set an automatic tuning mechanism or a manual tuning mechanism. And it on the back it has a switch that allows you to either hunt on salty beach. It turns it into a metal detector that runs in really harsh conditions, which I don't use that much. That's a very kind of an odd setting, and it also has a button on the back, which is a really good feature of this metal detector, is that it has it balances the ground balance and the discriminator metal detector to work in harmony together. And when this search head gets, if you're going out in the morning and it's very cold, it helps set that properly according to temperature. And when it gets really hot, it again adjusts it to work in harmony according to the heat.